Welcome to Comfort TV, the channel news, bringing you verified and balanced news from Nigeria and around the world. My name is Faith Kevin. Thank you for joining us. And the headline: Senate confirms Amupitan as INEC chairman. Federal High Court declares Mazi Nnamdi Kanu medically fit for trial. Senator Ben Obi replaces Governor Mba as PDP Convention Committee scribe. NLC faults federal government's no work, no pay policy. Nigeria wins global awards for digital governance at OGP Summit in Spain. ICPC files corruption charges against NMDC Director General Professor Asukwo. Court adjourns defamation suit against Serap to November 12. On business, INEC approves 28 billion naira for procurement of meters for Band A customers. Nigeria's FX market turnover surges 56% amid reforms. On the foreign scene, remains of last female Hamas hostage and IDF soldier handed over to Israel. American tourist stabbed to death in Portugal. On sports, former Super Eagles goalkeeper Peter Side cautions Super Eagles to not see Gabon as pushover. Former AC Milan goalkeeping coach backs Okoye to return to Udinese starting soon. Now the news. The Senate has confirmed Professor Joash Ojo Amupitan San as the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC. The confirmation of Amupitan followed the screening exercise at the Hallowed Chamber on Thursday, where the senators grilled the nominee of President Bola Tinubu for 3 hours, asking him questions to which he responded. After the committee of the whole, the president of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, asked if the confirmation was a true reflection of the House, and the ayes had it. Akpabio said he was approved without any dissenting voice, and he asked him to carry on his job where votes will count. While answering the questions, Amupitan said that he was never a legal counsel to the All Progressives Congress at the 2023 presidential election petition at the tribunal and up to the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Answering questions from the senators during the screening exercise, Amupitan emphasized that the law reports of those copies for the cases are available for everyone to review if they were part of President Bola Tinubu's legal team. He has also assured the Senate that once cleared and confirmed as INEC chairman, he will ensure elections are conducted where the losers congratulate the winners for the country's growth and development. The nominee, who also promised to work on logistics to ensure that the commission uses clones to safeguard materials, said there will be aggressive voter education. Amupitan appeared before the senators. He pledged to conduct elections that are free, fair, and credible, assuring that under his watch, leadership of INEC would be guided by transparency and accountability, adding that credible elections remain the bedrock of democracy. He promised to strengthen voter education, enhance logistics management, and adopt improved technological measures to prevent manipulation of results and safeguard electoral materials. Amupitan also addressed questions about his political neutrality, firmly denying reports that he had served as legal counsel to the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal or at the Supreme Court. Before the screening, Akpabio informed the chamber that Amupitan had been cleared by the Office of the National Security Advisor (NSA) and the Department of State Services (DSS) and the Nigerian Police Force, all confirming that he had no criminal record. Amupitan, a senior advocate of Nigeria and professor of law, has held several academic and administrative positions in the legal and educational sectors. His confirmation marks a new phase in INEC's leadership, with renewed public expectations for credible elections across the country. The Federal High Court in Abuja has ruled that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, is fit to continue his trial after an independent medical panel set up by the Nigerian Medical Association (NMA) found that his health condition is not life-threatening. The report followed weeks of medical assessment ordered by the trial judge James Omotosho after conflicting claims from the State Security Services (SSS) and Mazi Kanu's private doctors about his health status. Presenting the findings, the prosecution team led by senior advocate Adegboyega Awomolo informed the court that the NMA panel confirmed that Mazi Kanu's condition could be managed adequately within the SSS medical facility. The court accepted the report and ruled that the defendant was medically fit to stand trial. Jude Omotosho consequently fixed October 23 for Mazi Kanu to begin his defense and directed that the proceedings must be concluded by October 30. He also granted an oral request by Mazi Kanu's lead counsel, senior advocate Kanu Agabi, allowing his legal team to hold private consultations with him in the courtroom away from DSS monitoring. The latest ruling marks the conclusion of a process that began on September 26 when the court ordered the NMA to constitute a team of 8 to 10 specialists, including a cardiologist, neurologist, and the chief medical director of the National Hospital, to evaluate Mazi Kanu's health and inspect the SSS medical facilities. The directive followed months of disputes between the prosecution and defense over Mazi Kanu's treatment, while SSS lawyers maintained that the facility was equipped to handle his condition. The defense argued that his health was deteriorating and requested his transfer to a public hospital. The court had earlier adjourned the case to October 16 due to a delay in the submission of the NMA report. With the findings now submitted, the judge ruled that the medical evaluation had resolved all doubt regarding the defendant's condition. While the legal process continues, calls for Mazi Kanu's release have intensified. Last week, human rights activist Mr. Omoyele Sowore met with former President Goodluck Jonathan in Abuja to discuss possible political and humanitarian interventions in the IPOB leader's case. The National Working Committee, NWC of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has given approval for the appointment of Senator Ben Obi as Secretary of the National Convention Organizing Committee, NCOC, for the 2025 elective National Convention. In the face of a gale of defections and realignments in the political camps, many have attributed the fear of electoral loss to the development. Senior Special Advisor on Media and Publicity to former Vice President Namadi Sambo Umar Sani noted that the PDP was not bothered by the ongoing crisis within the party, despite the official defection of the Enugu State Governor Peter Mba and his Bayelsa counterpart Doye Diri from the PDP to the All Progressives Congress. Consequently, the Forum of State Chairman of PDP rebuked APC, accusing it of employing undemocratic, desperate and coercive tactics to destabilize Nigeria's opposition ranks. On the other hand, the Northern Support Group of PDP accused some NWC members of attempting to sabotage preparations for the November convention. Senator Obi replaces Governor Peter Mba of Enugu State, who occupied that position before his defection to the APC on Tuesday. The convention is scheduled to hold from November 15 to 16, 2025 in Ibadan, Oyo State. In a statement issued in Abuja, the PDP National Publicity Secretary, Debo Olugunagba, who also serves as Secretary of the Publicity and Communications Subcommittee of the NCOC, stated that the appointment was ratified by the NWC on behalf of the National Executive Committee, NEC, of the party. The statement noted that Senator Obi, a seasoned politician and former presidential advisor, brings to the role decades of experience in party administration and national politics. The Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, has frowned at the federal government's no work, no pay policy and emphasized that the union's position remains no pay, no work. The NLC president, Mr. Joe Ajero, disclosed the group's position while addressing newsmen at the end of his visit to Governor Alex Oti of Abia in Mvosi, Isialangwa South local government area. The federal government, in a circular dated October 13, 2025 and signed by the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, directed vice chancellors of federal universities nationwide to strictly implement the no work, no pay policy against members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities currently on strike. Mr. Ajero said it was illogical for government to expect productivity from workers who have not been paid their entitlements, describing the policy as unjust and insensitive. According to him, since 2009, many agreements reached between the federal government and unions remained unfulfilled, resulting in strikes and other forms of industrial actions across sectors. The NLC president therefore advised the federal government to address the root problem instead of punishing affected workers. He announced that all the unions in the education sector will meet on Monday to consider a collective response to the government's neglect of the sector. He contended that no nation develops without strengthening education, warning that continuous neglect was destroying Nigeria's human capital base. He said that fixing the education sector would automatically strengthen the nation's economy and promote social stability across all levels. He pointed out anomalies where some junior officers end as much as or more than their seniors due to incomplete consequential salary adjustments. The NLC president urged the state government to address the imbalance promptly to ensure fairness, proper promotion structure, and industrial harmony among avia workers. Nigeria has been recognized as a global leader in digital governance, clinching 2 major international awards at the 2025 Open Government Partnership OGP Global Summit in Spain. Nigeria made history by securing the overall global award in the digital governance category, outperforming 160 commitments submitted by 42 participating countries. The nation also won the Regional Award for Africa and the Middle East for advancing open digital governance, affirming its successful deployment of technology to enhance transparency and citizen engagement. The success, spearheaded by the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, in collaboration with DataFight, is a testament to the collaborative approach between the government and civil society. The winning submissions highlighted groundbreaking policies, platforms, and partnerships that make governance more participatory and technology-driven, aligning with Nigeria's strategic framework for digital transformation. The honors are seen as validation of NITDA's unwavering commitment to building an inclusive, citizen-centered digital ecosystem under the Federal Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy. The recognitions, according to Tech Digest, attest to Nigeria's position as a continental leader and an influential voice in shaping the future of open and digital governance worldwide. The OGP Awards are expected to serve as motivation for the government to deepen citizen participation, promote data openness, and strengthen accountability through innovative technology solutions. The embattled Director General of the National Metallurgical Development Center, NMDC JOS, Professor Linus Okoye, is now facing prosecution as the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, has filed criminal charges against him and 4 others. According to exclusive court documents, the ICPC had filed multiple count charges against Professor Okoye and his co-defendants, accusing them of corruption, abuse of office, and breach of Public Procurement Act. The charges filed before a federal high court followed a series of investigative reports that exposed how the NMDC boss allegedly mismanaged over 2.5 billion naira through fraudulent contracts, diversion of intervention funds, and abuse of procurement processes. The anti-graft agency accused the defendants of conspiring to inflate contract sums, sign award letters in violation of procurement regulations, and approve payments far above the legal threshold of the Director General's authority. This development comes weeks after widespread staff protests had rocked the NMDC headquarters, with workers demanding the removal of Professor Okoye over allegations of corruption, maladministration, and victimization. The Ministry of Mines and Steel Development had subsequently dispatched a delegation led by its permanent secretary, Chris Osokmowo, to address the situation, promising to take decisive action. The case marks a major milestone in the unfolding corruption scandal that has engulfed the NMDC, one of Nigeria's most strategic research institutions envisioned to drive industrialization through metallurgical innovation, but now mired in allegations of fraud and administrative decay. Justice Yusuf Halilu of the Federal Capital Territory High Court has adjourned the hearing in a 5.5 billion naira alleged defamation suit instituted against the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project SARA by 2 aggrieved operatives of the Department of State Services DSS to November 12th. Justice Yusuf adjourned the hearing in a suit following the absence of Serap's lawyer, Ebun Adegboruwa San, in court. The two DSS operatives, Sarah John and Gabriel Ogunleye, had filed the action against Serap on the grounds that the organization defamed them in the media publication. Specifically, the two claimants alleged that Serap defamed them by claiming that they unlawfully invaded their office, thereby putting their reputation as law-abiding security operatives in jeopardy. They are asking the court to order Serap to pay the sum of 5.5 billion naira as compensation for damages they suffered. The two claimants also applied to the judge to issue an order of perpetual injunction against Serap, restraining it from defaming them. At the proceeding, Serap's lawyer, Ebun Adegboruwa, a senior advocate of Nigeria, wrote a letter to the court informing it that he would not be able to attend the proceeding as he had a matter at the Court of Appeal in Lagos and asked for an adjournment till November 12. Counsel for the claimants, Akinlolu Kehinde, did not oppose the request for an adjournment. Justice Halilu subsequently fixed November 12 for Serap to defend itself in the suit. ComfortTV.channel's news returns shortly with business, foreign and sports news. Many thanks for staying tuned. This is ComfortTV.channel news. On business, the Nigerian Electricity Regulations Commission, NERC, says it has approved 28 billion naira for the procurement of meters for all outstanding unmetered Band A customers at no cost. This announcement was contained in the order on the operationalization of Tranche B of the Meter Acquisition Fund, MAF, issued by INEC and signed by its Vice Chairman, Musiliu Oseni, and Commissioner Legal Licensing and Compliance, Dafe Akbeneye. According to the order, the funds approved on the Tranche B of MAF scheme, apart from intended to meter all outstanding unmetered Band A customers, would also focus on expediting the closure of the metering gap for customers currently classified under Tariff Band B. The Commission said that the order seeks to establish a clear and transparent framework for the implementation of Tranche B of the MAF scheme. It also said that the order seeks to define the eligibility requirements and obligations of DISCOs and meter assert providers, MAP, in accessing and utilizing funds on the tranche. According to the order, NERC is expected to mobilize significant capital investments for metering through the revenue streams created under the MAF framework. Still on business, Deputy Governor for Economic Policy at the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Mr. Mohammed Abdullahi, has said that Nigeria's foreign exchange FX market has recorded a remarkable 56.4% increase in monthly turnover, rising to $8.6 billion in 2025 from $5.5 billion in 2024. The surge reflects the impact of sweeping monetary and fiscal reforms aimed at boosting liquidity, enhancing transparency, and strengthening investor confidence. Speaking at the Nigerian Investors Forum held alongside the IMF World Bank annual meetings, Mr. Abdullahi highlighted the government's strategic efforts to improve FX inflows and clear long-standing obligations, saying that monthly turnover in the Forex market had risen by 56.4% to $8.6 billion in 2025, up from $5.5 billion in 2024. He noted that the CBN had adopted an order-based quotation system and implemented reforms around remittances to deepen market efficiency. As a result, Nigeria's gross reserves reached a 5-year high of $43.4 billion in October, enough to cover 11 months of imports. On the foreign scene, Israel announced that it had received the body of Imbar Heyman, the last female hostage remaining in Gaza. The Israel Defense Forces IDF said its intelligence indicated that Heyman was murdered at the Nova Festival during the October 7, 2023 attacks, and that her body was taken into Gaza. She was declared deceased on December 15, 2023. Heyman was 27 years old at the time of her death. Heyman is survived by her parents and brothers. The Hostages and Missing Families Forum released a statement from Heyman's family after her body was publicly identified. Heyman was known as Pink, a talented graffiti artist. Her family asked the public to wear pink to her funeral and even put out her funeral information in pink writings as opposed to the traditional black lettering. In Israel, the funerals of hostages and deceased soldiers are often open to the public. The body of Sergeant Major Mohammed Al-Atrash was also delivered to Israel. Al-Atrash served as an IDF tracker, a position that is almost exclusively held by Bedouin Israelis. The remains of 19 deceased hostages remain in Gaza, including U.S. citizen Itai Chen, 19, and Omar Nutra, 21. One of the bodies in Gaza is that of Hadar Goldin, who was killed in 2014. His mother, Leah, has been fighting for more than a decade to give her son a proper burial. Still on the foreign, an American tourist was stabbed to death after a man tried to grab his friend's heart during a late-night altercation on the street in Portugal, police said. The incident happened when one of the victims was walking back to his hotel in the coastal town of Cascais, around 20 miles from the capital, Lisbon. The 34-year-old was approached by 3 men who tried to touch his heart unprovoked. Portugal's public security police said when he told them to stop, he was punched in the face 3 times. The victim then called his friend, who was at a nearby club, Taj, for help. When his 35-year-old friend arrived at the scene, the 2 groups got into a verbal altercation that turned violent. One of the suspects, using a sharp weapon, struck both men several times in the face, arms, and back. Police said the suspect escaped in a vehicle parked nearby. When police arrived at the scene in Rua Afonso Sanchez, they found both men covered in blood. The 35-year-old was lying on the ground in a supine position, inanimate and with no obvious signs of life, having been stabbed in the back, the police said in the statement. The second victim was sitting on the pavement with minor injuries to his face and right elbow. The criminal police body and judicial police are continuing to investigate. 3 suspects have since been arrested and have been questioned by the police, according to news reports, who said one of the men faces a homicide charge while the other 2 are accused of participating in the assault. In sports, former Super Eagles goalkeeper Ida Peterside has cautioned Nigeria against complacency ahead of the crucial 2026 FIFA World Cup playoff clash against Gabon, scheduled to take place in Morocco in November. Nigeria secured their place in the playoffs following a dominant 4-0 victory over Benin on Tuesday evening at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium in Uyo. The result saw the Super Eagles finish second in Group C with 17 points, enough to qualify as one of the best runners-up in the African qualifiers. The 3-time African champion will now face Gabon in the semi-finals of the playoffs, with victory taking them into a final round where they will meet the winner between DR Congo and Cameroon. Speaking in an interview, Peter Side described Gabon as a fast improving side, warning that the presence of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and his teammates made them a dangerous opponent. He noted that Gabon's recent performances showed they were a team on the rise, similar to Cape Verde, and could pose a real threat if Nigeria were to underestimate them. He stressed that Nigeria must assert their superiority and prove their status as a continental giant in the encounter against Gabon before potentially facing either DR Congo or Cameroon in the final round. A victory for Nigeria in the playoffs will secure a spot in the intercontinental playoffs, giving the Super Eagles another opportunity to qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup and potentially increase Africa's representation to 10 teams. Still in sports, Maduka Okoye is expected to return to Udinese's squad following the completion of his 2-month suspension for betting-related offenses, and former AC Milan goalkeeping coach Luigi Turci expects the Nigerian international to deliver a refreshed and motivated performance. Speaking to Messaggero Veneto, Turci, who played for both Udinese and Cremonese during his career, expressed confidence in Okoye's renewed focus. Turci also highlighted the trust Udinese coach Ronjaik places in the 26-year-old goalkeeper. Okoye, who revived his career in Italy after a challenging period with Watford in England, has been a standout performer for Udinese since joining in the summer of 2023. With his suspension concluded, the Super Eagles goalkeeper is expected to return immediately to the starting lineup in Udinese's first Serie A game after the international break. And that's our news bulletin for today. But before we go, here is a recap of our top story. Senate confirms Amopitan as INEC chairman. Federal High Court declares Mazi Nnamdi Kanu medically fit for trial. Senator Ben Obi replaces Governor Mba as PDP Convention Committee scribe. NLC falls federal government's no work, no pay policy. Nigeria wins global awards for digital governance at OGP Summit in Spain. ICPC files corruption charges against NMDC Director General Professor Asuquo. Court adjourns defamation suit against Serap to November 12. On business, INEC approves 28 billion naira for procurement of meters for Band A customers. Remains of last female Hamas hostage and IDF soldier handed over to Israel for the foreign news. And on sports, former Super Eagles goalkeeper Peter Side cautions Super Eagles to not see Gabon as a pushover. Thanks for watching. For breaking news, exclusive interviews and more, follow us online at ComfortTV.channel on all platforms. Remember to like and share our videos, subscribe to our channel and click on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any updates. My name is Faith Kevin. Until next time, stay informed, stay connected.